and gentlemen, if you would please kindly welcome your compere for the stage for the evening, Mr. James Nolan.
Well, evening Lancaster! Everyone alright? Yay, week 16, who'd believe it? Give a cheer for week 16, come on. Yeah, halfway through, actually no, we're not halfway through term, are we? No, because they've done that thing now, putting like an extra week on, yeah, haven't we? So even though we think we're halfway through term, we just know there's like bitterness and we've got to get hacked through it now for another 5 weeks, when in the past it'd be, oh, we've got 4 weeks left. No, you've got 5. What? Anyway, yeah, welcome everybody to County Comedy Club, brought to you by the Lancaster University Comedy Institute. Lovely bunch of people. Yeah, so, how's everyone? Yeah? You can tell I've not done this before. How are you, sir? How are you feeling? What's happened to you this week? Anything good? That helped. Cheers. Do you just have nothing happening in your life? Why are you here? No, do you just have nothing at all going on in your life? You know my name. Yeah, good. Anyway. Not many things have happened lately. I turned 20 the other week though. That was kind of nice. Hands up, 20-year-olds in the room. Yay. I'm going to ask a question here. How did you feel on your 20th birthday? Just dreadful. You didn't have a nice day at all then? Just... Oh, right. Why was it awful then? Just not getting any presents or? Forgot. Oh. Well, you could be birthday girl tonight. Everyone together. 3, 2, 1. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to Fiona. Happy birthday to you. How that makes you feel better? Yeah, my birthday was nice, yeah. It's the first birthday I ever had away from home. So I had to like bring the parents, went out for a nice meal with my housemates. And then it got to about 11 o'clock at night and I suddenly had an epiphany. And that epiphany was that even though I've got the body of a lean and fit 20-year-old, stop sniggering. Actually in my head, I'm a 49-year-old man. And it's brilliant. I mean, I can prove some of the reasons for this as well. First of all, wardrobe. I did a check on it the other day and it turns out 50% of it consists of checkered shirts, 20% flowery shirts such as this one, and the rest is jeans. So I'm the only 20-year-old who considers James May a fashion icon. But no, yeah, that makes me feel happy, so I keep it. What else have I got? Oh yeah, car I drive. That's fun. I drive a car that was built before my dad was even 20. And it's surreal, it's like driving round in the 1970s. No radio, no air conditioning, just me boiling to death in a classic Mini. And thinking, why did I buy this? And then thinking, oh yeah, I like it. That makes sense. But, I mean, I bought it because I thought it'd make me look cool. And I drive along with like arm on the windscreen, sunglasses on, thinking I look like Steve McQueen in Bullet. But what the girls actually see staring back at them is this. Not a good look, not a good look. But anyway, you know what they say, women, about men who drive minis? We're all pogs, you have to pay to have them fixed. So yeah, another reason I know I'm a 49-year-old man as well is the music that I listen to. So, random person of the audience here. This lady here, what's your favourite artist? Bastille. I know who Bastille is, I like Bastille. Any different people? Arctic Monkeys. Sort of don't know who they are. Anyone like one of those new age rapping people? No idea. No, because the band that I like, my favourite band is Genesis. Yeah. Hands up who knows who Genesis is and knows at least one song. Hands up if you know who they are but don't know any songs. Hands up if you just don't know. That was the reaction I was expecting majority of that. Yeah, so, I mean, being a 49-year-old man in your head's great. I mean, you get to shout at people when you don't want to. I get to walk around my uni house turning lights off and no one has a go at me. It's like, why are you turning that off? We're saving. We're saving. I'm literally turning into my dad. And people ask me, why a 49-year-old man, James? Why not a 50-year-old for a round number? Well, a 50-year-old man accepts he's got to middle age and is happy and so continues with his life. A 49-year-old man is just bitter and twisted about all the years that he's lost. Which, when you think about it, 20 is sort of that like middle gap between being a 19-year-old and being a teenager and thinking, yeah, I can do what I want. And then you get to 21 and suddenly you're an adult and you're out in the world, you've done third year and everything. So it's sort of like a no-man land. And this proved itself the other week, actually, with the concept of neck nominate, which I literally have no idea. I'm searching for things of what neck nominate could actually be, because I just don't get the theory of it at all. I don't see how it can be funny to post a video of yourself sort of abusing the right for you to drink alcohol online. Because when I was growing up in the 1980s, you'd worked hard for that pint. You'd worked out pit all day. And you come up and you go to work in men's club and you'd buy that pint and you'd sit and have a nice conversation about how much you wanted to murder Margaret Thatcher. and you'd sip it and you'd savour it for at least 2 hours and think, I earned that pint. I deserve that. Yet these days, everyone just sits there, I've been nominated to down a drink, and you just go for it. No reasoning at all for where that drink might have come from, how hard you worked for that drink. So, I'm going to do my neck nominate tonight. Seems I've been apparently nominated. So, here's my pint. And I'm going to add a few ingredients. So, first of all, we have a grey hair, which I found the other day. Might be one of the reasons for all this bitterness, I don't know. Yeah, so I'll take one of those. It's a massive clump as well, you will notice. Lovely! And then this secret, really secret ingredient. This is a tiny jar of children's tears. It's the metaphorical tears of my future son. Who will turn to me and say, Dad, what did you do at university? And I'll say to him, what I did at university is I downed a pint and I put it on the internet. And he'll be distraught. So, yeah, they're going in there. Lovely. Right, and while I'm drinking that, I think it's time we get our first act on. That was meant to happen. Let's get our first act on then. So we're going to start a bit of a clap stampede here. So what I want to do is, everyone at the back of the room, on the back row, can you start clapping first? Oh no, I've not done the rules. Yeah, definitely not done this before. Yeah, rules for tonight, no heckling, or I'll heckle back at you. No mobile phones, you can all turn your mobile phones off please, and as you walk in through the door at the back, make sure you don't knock the camera, because if you do and you like ruin the show, I'll make you reenact it word for word. So, yeah. So can we get the clap going again please, everyone from the back? Get the clapping, we keep moving it forward. Once again, keep it going, to the front. Please welcome to the stage, your first actor of the night, Mr. Michael Dodds.
Hello. Everyone alright? Is everyone alright? Everyone alright? I've done the rounds. Comedy is meant to be reflective upon one's life and oneself. So tonight, in the spirit of that, I'm going to talk to you about my very personal fears about my life and myself. Briefly. I'm a hypochondriac. Right, which basically means that I have a sort of irrational fear of my health. Not a fear of my health. a fear about my health and well-being. You know, for instance, any time I have a headache, I'll just assume to myself, well, that's cancer. Anytime I'm tired and I can't really get up in the morning, I'll think, well, there's my cancer playing up. Anytime I go to the doctors and he says to me, I'm really sorry to tell you this, Mr. Dodds, but it's definitely cancer, I'll go, well, it's probably cancer, that, isn't it? But having hypochondria, the worst thing about it is it's similar to sort of any other anxiety, in that the worst thing about it is the sort of lack of control that you have. I mean, trying to regulate your hypochondria is a bit like it's like driving a school bus, right? And the school bus is made of jelly. And you're driving it down this road and it's full of children, and the children are made of jelly. And they're all chanting about that time when you were 17 and your testicles went back up inside you for 2 weeks and you didn't know what was going on, and you're going, shut up kids, I'm trying to get you to school. And they're going, Michael, where's your balls at? Where's your balls at? You're going, that's a shit chant. What do they teach you at school these days? Also, how do you know about this? My mum said it was fine. And then you look out the window and you know what's out the window? You know what the cliff is. But do you know what? That's the cliff. And the cliff is your very personal fear of a slow and painful death. So that's what hypochondria is like. This has been a problem for as long as I can remember. Whenever I was 13, which is as long as I can remember apparently, I went to my dad. I had this rash on my hand that I was worried about. And I went up to him, I had a rash there, and it's where my set's written, you see, it's where my set's written. And I went to him and I said, Dad, I've had this rash for a while, is that something I should be worried about? Should I get this checked out? And he said, what am I meant to be, a doctor? Which was a weird thing for a doctor to say. I mean, honestly, I think it was just neglect. But I went to the doctors last week, and I went in because I thought I had a kidney infection. I had sort of unexplained back pains. And I thought I had a kidney infection, and I went in and I ended up getting tested for rickets. That's true. So in one session, which couldn't have been any more than 10 minutes, I went from saying, I think my kidneys are fucked too, better check my legs. They somehow managed to throw in a chlamydia test there as well. Like, you know how they do, you go to the doctors and you get your shit done, and then they go, would you like a chlamydia test? And you go, sorry, I'm in here about my kidneys and my legs. What? No, it's free. We're doing free chlamydia tests. This is still the NHS, isn't it? Yeah, it is. Okay, so why are you trying to sell them like they're free? Is that something special? Come on, they say, getting their fucking briefcase out, which is full of tubes. And they go, look, it's free, look, you just piss into one of these, it's fine, look, it's fine. Honestly, whenever I come to the doctors, I don't make a habit of practicing pissing through the eye of a needle before I do it. This is going to get messy. Why don't you do it in tubs? And they say, no, go on, just take one for the road. No, it's fine. No, will you please just take your chlamydia test? Really, it's tragically unnecessary. But, I don't have chlamydia. I don't have chlamydia. I also don't have rickets, which is good. Although the doctors did say that I have a vitamin D deficiency. So, my legs aren't rickety, but they're not great. So, and they recommended that I get more sunlight, which in Lancaster is a bit like prescribing unicorn piss. Even if unicorns were real, they wouldn't just give it to me. They wouldn't just give me their piss because they're noble creatures. So I went to the doctors last week, again, the day after my last fictional story. And I said, Doctor, I think I'm a pack of playing cards. And he said, I'll deal with you later. And I said, no. No, I think I'm a pack of playing cards. It's a serious problem. I've got something wrong with my heart. It's like a club foot. I pissed out something that looked like a diamond kidney stone, maybe. It's something about a spade. And he said, listen, I know. I'll deal with you later. You're in here every single day with your bullshit. I know. I'll deal with you later. I wasn't making a joke. Like, there's an elderly woman in the waiting room who has a cyst On her neck, mind. Do you have a cyst? In the sense that I insist that there's something wrong with me, I definitely have one. Well, no, I'm not giving you any treatment today. Goodbye. I said, listen, Dad. This whole song and dance is getting old. Just give me the sweet, sweet drugs to make me feel light. And he said, thank you. And he says, look, I'm only going to tell you this for once, alright? You're a parasite. You understand me? A parasite. I said, parasite? What kind of parasite? How will I survive without my host? Son, you're a madman. What's happened? You've gone insane. You don't even understand basic social metaphors anymore. What I'm referring to is the fact that you're a parasite upon the NHS. And he said S in such a way, because at this point I was trying to climb into my father's asshole to continue my worldly existence. He was going, son, what are you doing? What are you doing, son? Not again. This is a place of medicine. I said, only one of us is going to survive this, Pops, and it ain't going to be you. Cats in the crib and a silver spoon. Oh boys, man on the moon. Freud was wrong.
Dodds, everybody! So that's the end of the health section of the show. Yeah, things have been happening at the moment. Oh man, I'll just do one of these. Yeah. That's all you're getting. Things happening at the moment. Got the Winter Olympics going off. Yeah, anyone like the Winter Olympics? Yeah, that was like not as rambunctious as I hoped. I've been watching a few of them. My favourite event actually is the biathlon. I don't know if you know what that is, but it's where basically people ski around the course, but they shoot things every so often. And it's meant to be like a hunter-gatherer sort of thing, but it just makes literally no sense to me. Because I think at the point where they go behind the trees, it'd be brilliant if the guy in second place came out the other side of the trees with the guy in first place on his back. They're like, yeah, I'm winning now! You have murdered a man. Well, you know, I got a gold. Yeah. So, the biathlon's brilliant. There's another one as well, Skeleton Bob, which I thought did actually involve a man called Skeleton Bob. It doesn't. It's just a load of people throwing themselves down a hill on a tea tray. And, I mean, anyone else got any favourite Winter Olympic sports? You, madam? Curling. That's good, curling. Yeah. Do you enjoy curling? What? I'm going to ask that. Why do you enjoy curling? This is our next tag, by the way, everybody. Hello, Sean. Why do you like curling?
The intensity and the physical perfection it takes to really roll that thing down some ice. It's already quite slippery. Oh, yeah.
I'm just going to leave you to your fancies. Probably a good job you signed it. Oh, I'm breaking things. There we go. Probably a good job you signed the corner, because if you were sat in the audience, people would be looking at you strange now. Yeah, you don't want to see what he was doing with his hands. But there's one part of Winter Olympics I can't put up with, and that's Torvill and Dean. Oh, God. It's not necessarily Christopher Dean. I like him. I think he's a talented man. It's Jane Torvill. She looks like the sort of woman who gets up an hour early in the morning just so she's got longer to look at herself in the mirror. She's just so creepy. And you can tell that Christopher Dean's really in love with her. And he just sits there, he's like friend zone to oblivion. And he just sits there and he's just like, I want to love you, Jane. I want to take you out for a meal and let's go home and kiss by the fire and we'll make sweet, sweet love. Yeah. We've got a new series of Dancing on Ice coming up. No, I love you, Jane. Yeah, that's nice. Skates. Weird woman, weird. Torvile, indeed, I call them. I don't know where I'm going after this. So, shall we bring on our next act? Woo! Now, let's get another clap going. I want to do sort of like the beginning of Car Wash, you know, the beginning beat where it's like clap, 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 clap. You can remember that beat, come on. You're good people. So, this side of the room start first, so clap. Please welcome to the stage your next act, Mr. Gilbody!
Right. Did I shout over the music? I don't know. What? Meta? Whoa. Crazy start to my act. Get used to it, guys. This is a fun bus to hell. Yeah, now we're in the zone. I've been up to Lancaster for a while. James's opening bit involved mines, working men's clubs, and Thatcher bashing. Oh god, I'm back at home now, aren't I? Yes, Lancaster, we know what it's all about. So northern, so lovely and northern. So what I really want to talk to you about today, guys, is like my life. Because if you see me perform before, you realise that normally I just talk a lot of shit. Both figuratively and literally. I'm seeing my doctor about it. And if you, it's not just because I think poo's very funny, because poo's hilarious, we all know that. You just laughed at the word poo, judge yourselves. Judge yourselves, Lancaster. But it's because all my best ideas come from when I'm sitting on the toilet. It's one of the few times where I just get to sit down and relax to myself and just think about stuff. So I'm just relaxing there and just going... Why do they call it premature ejaculation? Because the premature bit insinuates that it eventually becomes mature. And if it becomes mature, isn't that puberty? Does ejaculation go through puberty? And it's random shit like that. There's no ending. No, people like punchlines, I like random thoughts. So it's just some things that go through my head. So I thought I'd try something different and talk to you about my life today. Something very big happened to my life recently in September. I actually got kicked out of this university. Oh, don't worry guys, I'm not bitter. I'm not gonna burn down a random building on campus. That'd be crazy if I burnt down the learning zone, wouldn't it? It'd be crazy if I just got some petrol and just went over to the learning zone, just burnt it to ashes. That'd be insane, wouldn't it? If I strapped petrol to this guy here, set him on fire and chucked him into the... No, I wouldn't do that to you, Lancaster. No way at all. But yeah, that happened, and obviously it's like a really traumatic time for you to happen. What happened was basically I failed my second year, I think good enough, and my family were really good about it. They're really supportive and they're really comforting, and I always remember what my dad said to me the first time I told him what happened, and I remember he sat next to me, he put an arm around me and he said, Sean, I know this must be really tough and we're here for you this whole time, but you know what they say, ignorance is bliss. And I sat there and I thought, yeah, they do say that. But I don't get the context, really. It's like, well, Sean, you know, like ignorance is the lack of knowledge and stuff like that. Well, you won't be doing another year of study, so then you will be more ignorant and know less. So therefore you'll be happier. Thanks, Dad. Thanks. Because my dad was just trying to be nice, to be fair to him, but I just hate the phrase ignorance is bliss generally, because I have one argument against the phrase ignorance is bliss. People say that racism is born from ignorance. And if ignorance is bliss, are you telling me that racism is bliss? So, what I'm trying to say to you guys is happiness is racist. And that's what I told my dad at the time. But like, yeah, so, like, to be fair, I think I dealt with like dropping out of uni quite, I say dropping out, failing out of uni quite well. Dropping out sounds better because it sounds like it was my choice. I'm not bitter. Oh God, I've got to live this life now. I've dealt with it a long time before. I sort of knew it was coming because like there was one incident in particular during the exam period. What happened was basically I locked myself in a toilet cubicle. Not deliberately. I got stuck in. The door was jammed, and like we all know the worst thing that can happen to a person is getting locked in a toilet cubicle, don't we? Like I failed uni, and that was worse, getting locked in a toilet cubicle. And like, there's a lot of places you can get locked into. Like, look at 127 hours. James Franco was stuck on that rock for 5 days. All he had to do to get out was cut his arm off. I could cut as many arms off as I wanted. It wasn't going to help me get out. I know, the James Franco alarm has sounded. Run for your lives, children, run! Okay, so as I said, so I was stuck in this cubicle and I was clawing it for like 10 minutes trying to get out. Obviously I tried to open it normally first, so I know the technique. But I was clawing at this thing for ages and it just wasn't budging. So I thought I had a solution. I called up a friend and I asked him to come like help me jimmy the door open. And he came eventually, and this is where I realised there was a bit of a problem because he didn't know which cubicle I was in. And he can't call me now because then people would know that I'm stuck in a toilet cubicle. So he then walked in and he said, Sean, you in here? And this left me with a bit of a conundrum because either I could say, yes, I'm in here, which would indicate that I'm probably starting a new cottaging society. Or I could just not reply at all, just ignore him and just keep on being stuck in this toilet cubicle. And I did the thing that we'd all do, and the right thing, I think we can agree. I ignored the shit out of him. And then I heard him leave, and I realised I was stranded. And not the cool type of stranded, like Castaway with Tom Hanks. No, he got a desert island and Wilson to have fun with. All I had was a shitty toilet and a spider named Dan. So I was in this toilet for what must have been days, just waiting to escape, and it gave me a lot of time to think about my life. I asked the big questions in life, like, where's my life leading? What's happening? Where am I going? Like, am I cut out for uni? Is this right for me? Who is Uncle Ben? What makes his rice taste so good? And eventually, out of the exhaustion, I started falling asleep. And as I started falling asleep, my head dropped, and I saw there was a gap between my cubicle and the one next to me on the floor. And I realised it was big enough for me to crawl through. And eventually I did the only thing I could. I got down on my hands and knees and I started crawling through. It was like the Great Escape, with less Nazis, more pubes. And I started crawling out, and I got through, and I got out of the toilet cubicle next door, and I ran out the door, and I saw a clock, and I realised it had been 5 hours. I've been stuck in this toilet cubicle for 5 hours, and what's worse, I missed out on doing an exam. I missed one of my main exams of my year. I ran to my lecturer, and I told him what happened. I told him everything that I just told you today. And he looked back at me and said, Sean, I don't believe you. And I said, why can't you believe me? This is a genuine traumatic time that's happened in my life, a turning point in my life. And he said, Sean, I saw you walk past the window during the exam, eating an ice cream, singing Walking on Sunshine. I thought I'd gotten away with it. Shocking that I failed. But yeah, like, I don't want you guys to think my life is all shitty and all like cracks. Like, for the first time in a long while, I'm getting in quite a happy place in my life. I'm quite happy, and it was weird when I found out that I started becoming happy. It was a weird moment because what happened was my friend, he started singing his song, basically, just out of the blue. It was just random. And it was really poignant. It's a song that we probably all know. Oh no. Screw it. And we probably all love. And he just started singing. He said, if you're happy and you know it, clap your hands. And And then this weird thing happened to me. My hands kind of, they went in the air for a second. And then they started converging. And then they met in the middle and made a noise. And then they grew apart again, really weirdly. And then he's saying the next line, if you're happy and you know it, clap your hands. And it happened again, and it made the noise again. And then he sang the song, the next line, if you're happy and you know it and you really want to show it, if you're happy and you know it, clap your hands. And then I started realising I'm clapping. But he said, if you're happy and you know it, clap. I must be happy. I must be happy. And then he started singing the next line of the song. He said, if you're happy and you know it, stamp your feet. I'm going to tell you now, guys, I'm going to go through the whole fucking song. So either you can join in and I'll just sing the rest of the song normally, or if you're sad, don't join in, I don't want you ruining our parade. If you're happy and you know it, stomp your feet. If you're happy and you know it, stomp your feet. If you're happy and you know it, and you really want to show it, if you're happy and you know it, stomp your feet. If you're happy and you know it, shout hooray! Hooray! If you're happy and you know it, shout hooray! Hooray! If you're happy and you know it, and you really want to show it, if you're happy and you know it, shout hooray! Hooray! We all feeling happy, Lancaster? Hooray! And you're all probably racist. Good night,
It's a Sean Gilbody, everybody. Give him a big round of applause. Woo! It's going down. Right, it's coming up to that time of year as well where everyone's thinking about dissertations. So anyone got a big dissertation project that they're planning now? Oh, that sounded happy. Come on, someone put their hand up. Let's have a... Yes, you there, man in blue top. Question time. What's your plan?
My plan is to panic until August.
Panic. Is that the title of your essay? Or is it like a book you've been reading? Just panic until August, and then it just gives you a ritual of things that you have to do each month.
There's a little bit of paranoia in there, but yeah, pretty much.
Okay. That's a dark place we could go into there. Anyone else got any good suggestions? I'm going to go over here. This side of the room doesn't get very many. Anyone got a dissertation you're planning? No? Are you all doing degrees? Oh, your first years, that makes sense. Any second years who are planning, I should point out that's what I want here. Anyone got any? No. Anyone got any? You, sir? No. Anyone got any essays? That'd be it. I am flogging a dead horse here. By the way, that's the title of my essay. You got to do anything. Are you writing anything? Work with me, man. Make something up.
I'm doing creative writing.
Creative writing. And what are you writing?
Stories.
Stories about what? You're going quite vague here. You've not frozen, you're still moving, I can see it. Pick a topic, I don't know.
What's your favourite genre?
I don't have a favourite. I don't know. This is what I'm doing, I'm giving it to him now so he can come up afterwards and do my job. No, I'm going to leave you. Yeah, okay. I've made you feel out of place. Yeah, my dissertation is, because I'm a geographer, so basically I spend most of my time sort of staring at some graphs and then making out why I can colour them in properly. And it basically involves me going to a school and then asking the school what they think about electric cars. This is a class full of 16-year-olds, none of them can drive. And I'm asking them what they think about electric cars. I literally got the answer the other day, which was, well, if it just runs out of juice, can't I just plug my phone into it? No. Anyone else got any good ideas? Let's go down. There, sir. Any essays that you're writing? Any computer science that you do? Oh, you're being pointed at you there, sir. Well, look at the lady behind you. What are you doing? Ant colonies. Wow. I'm generally intrigued by this. We're in for the long set here. So, what do you do with the ant colonies? Do you, like...
I make them do things.
You make them do things like a sadistic Dr. Doolittle. Yeah. And what sort of things do you make them do?
Cross bridges.
Cross bridges? I'm not an expert on ants, but I'm sure that if you put a bridge in front of an ant and just left it, it would find its own way across. 2 bridges? God, this is beyond science here. And what's the purpose of these 2 bridges? It's sort of like
See which bridge they'll all cross. They'll all eventually just cross one bridge together.
so like they follow each other.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. So what eventually do you want to like be the result of this? They all cross the bridge together. So basically you're like the Noah of the science department. Just hoping they'll all come towards the sugary arc. I like that. If I could do that as a degree, I would. But unfortunately, I'm banned from using eyeballs. Okay, we'll get our next act on then. Let's get a clap going again. So this side of the room, start clapping. This side of the room, go for it. Please welcome to the stage and brace yourself for Mr. Stephen Catling.
Alright, Lancaster. You all having a good night? Yeah. That's good. So I'm alone. Anyway. So I've been recently wondering why I'm alone, and it's not this, I'm a nice guy and women only date arseholes, because that's bullshit! Yes. No. You see, because I am an arsehole, and I am alone. For example, I took a girl on a date, I went to a restaurant, didn't tip the waiter. He did a good job anyway, but no, not getting a tip. I also took her to Cineworld, and during the film I said, Truman escapes the Truman Show! It was The Hobbit. And then, on the 3rd day, I made her a lovely lasagna. Made from her beloved childhood pet. Turtle. Another reason why I'm alone is because I'm very sceptical if a woman's actually showing interest. It would take a giant neon sign saying, I'm interested in you, for me to think, oh, she's interested in me. Okay, for example, once a girl said, hey, you're a great guy, why not get some drinks? And I think, she's probably being nice, let's see how this all pans out. Several months later, she's taking me to Sweden to see the Aurora Borealis, because she knows I don't like the heat, so let's go to a cold place. She wants to go to the Mediterranean, and I think, she's probably just being nice, let's see how this all pans out. And finally, 60 years from now, after 50 years of marriage, 3 beautiful children, which she somehow made beautiful despite my genes. She'll turn to me on her deathbed and say, Stephen, my darling, you have made me so happy. You are the love of my life. I am joyous to spend my final moments with you. And then I think to myself, she's probably just being nice. Let's see how this all pans out. She then closes her eyes and dies. And anyway, okay, so I was on the internet the other day and I saw an image that it said, hijab is my choice. I'm fine with the statement, I can get behind this, I respect a person's autonomy to do what they want. What troubled me was the image itself, which consisted of 2 lollipops. One had a wrapper on, and the other was a lollipop with no wrapper but covered in flies. Now we can all see what's wrong with this image, right? That's right, women aren't sweets! The closest you can get are lollipop ladies, and the name is deceitful. A lollipop lady asked me, "You lick me," and I thought, well, I don't get much opportunity to do this. So I did. She didn't taste sweet. She tasted of sweat, wrinkles, and loneliness. Equally, when you go to the doctors, they don't give you a lollipop lady if you've been good. Nor when you go to the school fair, do you say, "Count how many lollipop ladies are in the jar." They don't have a jar big enough for that. Now to a lighter topic. Swans. I fucking hate swans. Because, you see, I know what they're up to. Swans, deep down, or quite clearly, want to destroy the entire human race. Now, you've all heard the urban legend, careful of swans, they'll break a man's arm. That's nothing. A hatchling can break a man's arm. But that's not what the hatchling do. What it'll do, it will come out the egg, jump on your face. Several hours later, after it's burrowed down into, emerging will be a beautiful swan. Ta-da! Just like the cross between the ugly duckling and alien. That's how John Hurt dies. So, I was in the park the other day, I saw a swan. It was, swimming about, and then it came onto, out into the grass and was eating bread. I thought, that's not for you, that's for humans! This is an act of war! I got a petrol can, swung it around me and the swan, and lit it to entrap me and the swan to prepare for a fight as it whacked his wings menacingly because the swan wouldn't escape. See, swans are honourable creatures, they don't run away. Anyway, so I brought a visual aid for you today. So here's my swan for today. It's a pig. It's got swan written on it. Now, they didn't have any swans because you can't get them because only royal corgis can have swans. Anyway, so I also pulled out a knife. I know this is a wooden spoon, but the bastards at Lusu won't let me have knives on stage. Not after the last incident. I tossed it in the centre. Anyway, now, the swan cracked its webbed feet because, as to say, bring it on, motherfucker. Now, there's one little thing. Swans, they don't have any clothing. And I thought, well, clothing's kind of like armour, so to make it fair, I'm going to fight on its terms. So I took off my jacket to reveal my war paint, pain and despair, because that's what you'll experience in my hands. And then took off my shirt to reveal, donate to the RSPCA, because I love animals. I know it's written backwards, I did it myself. So now, I'm going to proceed with the fight with the swan. Victory! But you see, in its dying hope, the swan summoned a legion of undead swans from Hades, because all swans are Greek. So I took my horn of Yorkshire and I blew on it. Summoning 299 Yorkshiremen, because I'm from Yorkshire as well, making 300 Yorkshiremen. Along with this was the noted actor Sean Bean from Sheffield, which is in Yorkshire. So, many days of... But the swan in its honk said, "Resistance is futile. The 1,000 nations of the Swan Empire descend upon you. Our shit shall blot out the sun." Well, that's great, because I've got fields that need fertilising. So I said to the guys, "Look, prepare your knives to eat highly, for tonight we eat foie gras." Many days of fighting the swans and we were pushing them back, but they had one trick up their feathers, and that was they formed a giant city-destroying mecha swan called Big Bird. So we thought, this isn't going too well, we'd best go to the pub and have a think with a drink. So in the pub, we're discussing, and Sean Bean says, "I volunteer." And says, "What's your idea, Sean Bean?" "I shall take a Yorkshire-made aircraft, I shall attach a nuclear device, and I shall fly up Big Birds and destroy it from within." "Alright, Sean Bean, we'll let you do this." So Sean Bean is flying in the aircraft up Big Bird's arse. He says, "Brace yourselves! Nuclear winter is coming!" Blowing up the Big Bird. Remember to support the RSPCA. I've been Stephen Catling. Thank you.
Any wonders why I went away from an alley. Anyway, we've come to the interval in our show tonight. Woo! Give it up for our act so far. Yay! Right, I've got one job I want you all to do during the interval as well. We're going to play a little game. Ooh. And this game is based on the format of my friend at home has just asked me to be his best man. That's nice. Which is a bad idea to involve anyone who does comedy with a best man speech. I mean, that's like asking Myra Hindley to look after your kids. So it's not a good idea. What I want you all to do is we're going to do a best man speech. I'm going to do a bit of a practice, and after the break, I'm going to pick two lovely people from the audience. Don't let that scare you. And then over the break, we'll have two cups over here, and I want you to come and write suggestions for the bride and the groom for events that have happened in their life. Be as weird as you want. And I'll then make a best man speech from it. Two rules here. No pictures of cocks. I can't make a story out of those no matter how hard I try. And the other one is, it might not necessarily be a man or a woman. Ooh. So, everyone go, get a pint, go to the toilet, do what you need to do. We'll see you back here in how many minutes? 15 minutes. Okay, thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the stage, your compere for the evening, Mr. James Nolan!
Welcome back. This microphone sounds got a mind of its own. Woo. And as we can see by the comedy nominate Hourglass, we are now halfway through the show. That's nice. Old-fashioned northern technique there, time to time. So yeah, one thing I forgot to mention before we went for the interval is we're doing a bit of a collection tonight because we're trying to get some money together to send members of the Comedy Society to the Edinburgh Fringe. Woo! Should be fun. So if you all wouldn't mind putting a little bit of change into what looks like the Iron Giant's jockstrap, then yeah, it'd be much appreciated, and we'll get you. There'll be videos and all sorts of shizzle for you. So yeah, so now it's time to pick a bride and a groom. So we're going to have one person over here, so it's going to be the bride's camp. And then this is going to be the groom's family. So who would like to nominate a bride? Hannah's looking at me and it's like, no, I'll leave you, don't worry. Who else? Anyone in the back? I'm going to pick someone now.
Tom, be the bride.
That's a good idea. Tom Clements, everybody.
Tom the musical.
Here she comes. Looking resplendent, I must admit. Who made you dress?
What?
Who made you dress?
A Frenchman.
Lovely. Right, let's sit at the top table. There you go. It's not,
Okay.
yeah, it's a pull. Don't get smart. Who wants to nominate a groom then? This gentleman here has been pointed out violently. What's your name, sir?
Sam.
Sam. Sam, come on up, Sam. Woo! Help us, Sam, everybody.
Hello, dear. How's it been?
Been okay.
You know, so old.
Right, how this is going to work is I'm going to give you both the cup each. That's the bride's cup. And the groom's cup there, and then when I'm struggling for things to say, I'm just going to turn and point at one of you, and I want you to pull out the cup, one thing, and read out what it says on the piece of paper. Okay. So, okay, ladies and gentlemen, I am the best man, Mr. James Nolan. I hope you all had a lovely day. All had a lovely wedding breakfast at like 12 in the afternoon. That doesn't make any sense. So, yeah, I mean, I've known the bride, Tom, for at least 20 years. And we first met when we...
Hosting our first swingers party.
Those were lovely days. Later. Yeah, we'd go out to the Swinger Society, and we sort of met through those, like the Great British do, and we used to go on holidays to Benidorm, and then we'd get off. not here. And we sort of decided that we ought to host a swingers party together, and sort of the rambunctiousness of sort of like putting together everything, game party nibbles, so like organising who was buying the toys, you know, it was a lovely time in our life, and that's what led to us being great friends, isn't it? Yeah, in more ways than one.
Yes.
And Sam, of course, our groom here doesn't look handsome today.
Yes, he does.
And me and Sam actually first met when...
Became the mortal enemy of the Scooby-Doo gang.
That was a great time. What happened there is we decided it would be a brilliant idea to impersonate an old man running a mill. And we sort of had this giant animatronic man. I'd be beside the head and Sam would be controlling the legs. And we had many days of scaring away the locals and saying, no, you can't take our corn. But then we got dumbfounded by a group of 4 teenagers and a talking dog. So that was a nice time. And of course, we all remember the time as well when the bride
Had an allergic reaction to the groom's cock.
Oh, this is going like a show.
Smiley face.
Yeah, that was a bad time. I mean, it wasn't really funny at the time, but now we look
Not
back.
at all. Not at all.
Now we look back and we think they're planning to have kids.
I don't.
Yeah, I mean, it's amazing that they got married, but they love each other that much that they decided to stay together, just not that close. And Sam as well, he had that moment in his life where...
Bumhole emergency.
The infamous bumhole emergency. That was on the stag do actually. What happened there is we were all in Benidorm with the Swingers Association, and it just was a case of Buzz Lightyear went where he shouldn't be. So yeah, and it became known as the infamous bumhole emergency, even though it had nothing to do with a bumhole. So take from that what you will. Yeah. And what else happened on that stag do, Sam? I can't remember really.
Nobody knows why his onesie is always covered in blood. Don't know how they found that.
But the Spanish police do. Of course, the bride didn't come with us on the hen party, which is strange because it's a man. Oh, the hen? No, that's weird. No. You went on your own hen party.
I'm a chicken!
We'll let you out the suit later. Read what happened on your hen party.
I got stuck in a fridge.
Yeah, the game stuck in a fridge incident. That was sort of like following on from the Swingers Association. And that's the only thing I can remember, really, of our time together. And it followed on as well from the Scooby-Doo accident. Because what happened is, the costume needed cooling down. And he sort of volunteered to sit with the costume, but then when he realised it was too warm, he went in, got stuck in the fridge, and that's how that happened. He missed the entire hen do because of that. You're not bitter, are you? He's just happy on the inside. And another event from the stag do.
Winning the big hockey match against the Jocks.
Damn those jocks! They never understood us in school, eh?
That was great. So, little do people know that the bride and groom actually met through this match. And that was sort of like what led to their love for each other. And also, it was one of the times that they did find out that Tom had the penis allergy. Just in the middle of a scrum. So, take from that what you will. But also as well, I'd like to thank for today the bride's mother, whoever she is. And I remember the time when Gillian said to me,
Chopsticks in the bedroom!
yeah, chopsticks in the bedroom. That was a night to savour. Wow. It wasn't even what it sounds like. What happened is we just had this mental idea that we'd run into somebody's house and put chopsticks in the bedroom. Not sexualised in any way, but it was so funny seeing the look on the face of the man as he came outside, just like, who's put chopsticks in my bedroom? And oh, we laughed so much. Yes. And of course, the groom's father, old Tony, wherever he is, he's not here today, Tony. You know who he is that guy at the back with the sunglasses.
I love you, son!
Which is ironic because no one's seen him for 10 years. But I remember that time when Tony
did a one-man rendition of the Lord of the Rings trilogy.
that was early on in his acting career, and that's why no one's seen him for 10 years. But I really can't put towards the moment that really made this couple fall in love was when the bride
accidentally dyed her hair green before the first date.
Because Sam has a fetish for green hair. I mean, the only reason that he's staying with Tom is that one day he hopes he will return to his green colour. So it's more of a case of it's just like grasping on there to his only love in life, really. And I remember as well, your reaction to it, Sam, it was something like...
Remember the time we saw Alan Titmarsh, and I wanted to say Hells, but you said, we'll miss our ferry to France, and I've never forgiven you because I fucking love gardens.
That one explains itself. And the bride saying to that,
The time we murdered someone.
and therein explains the onesie. Oh dear, but I mean, one thing you can never sort of take away from Sam is his really funny experiences in life. I mean, I remember when we were younger, one time at school when...
I was the rubber pink stunt double in Stephen's set.
He was the rubber pig stunt double in Stephen's set. Yeah, and I mean, you had bruises for weeks where you'd been beaten with a wooden spoon. So yeah, and I mean, we met Tom as well at some point at school. I remember it was just a little girl sat at the back of the classroom, and no one ever really noticed. It wasn't until he became a swinger that that people took note of him. And he used to do this funny thing at the back of the classroom, didn't you? What did you used to do?
I fought a bear.
Every lesson, fighting that bear. And we sat there thinking, this is actually quite distracting. But no, we went through it. 5 years of school fighting that bear, and the bear still won. And you know what? The bear isn't even angry about it. He sat at the back tonight. Cheers, Pooh. Yeah. But I remember what Sam did to the bear as well one time.
I had a near-death experience with a leaf blower.
They both went out after a night at school, and they said they were going to table tennis club, but what they were actually doing is they were clearing Alan Titchmarsh's garden. And so the bear sort of like turned on him, and it was like, whoa, that. And then the leaf blower sort of like got a mind of its own. And for some reason, the mystery crew turned up again. And they tried sort of exercising the leaf blower, but it just didn't work. And that's how Sam has his terrible disfigurement, which is?
Got really drunk, thought I slept with friend's brother, was actually Nan with strangle.
And his terrible disfigurement is he thinks that's not true. But of course, the bride is remembered for many of her famous cock-ups, really. One of which being...
I once fucked Nicky Lauda. What is that?
Oh, the famous Formula 1 driver, Nicky Lauda.
Oh.
Yeah. Oh, I remember that night, because Nicky was...
You know a guy.
I knew Nicky personally, he sort of came up afterwards, and I was like, oh, was it like Nicky? He's got, oh, you've got to stick it, you've got to really stick it! Terrifying, really.
It's about memories.
And, of course, the groom's reaction, really, was something terrible.
We had an orgy on the TARDIS.
I had an orgy on the TARDIS. Yeah. Ironically, in room 101, which actually is on the TARDIS. You don't know where all the stuff goes on the BBC, but that's where it all ends up, just like in Doctor Who's back cupboard. Yeah, there was a lot of stuff in there to use, really, wasn't there? Have you run out?
A cup.
Have you? A cup? And we remember that time as well with the... with the cup. Oh dear. So ladies and gentlemen, after all that, I'd like you please to raise a glass and a toast to the happy couple, Sam and Tom. Yeah, give a big cheer, come on. And that's why they wouldn't let me bring back Blind Date. Ladies and gentlemen, are we ready for our fourth act of the evening? Okay, I'd like you all to welcome to the stage. It's his first time ever doing a set, so be kind to him. It's... What? I knew you'd love it. Please welcome to the stage and give a big round of applause to Mateusz Jurczyński.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Mateusz Jurczyński, and I am a Polish mathematician. That's my first joke of the evening. Being a mathematician in a foreign country is quite a unique experience, because no one knows who I am, and no one knows what do I do. So I thought I'm gonna take this opportunity to tell you a little bit about myself, about Poland, and about mathematics. So give me a cheer for learning new things. Let's start with my name. Mateusz Jurczyński. Do we have any international students in the room, by the way? Oh, hello. Hi. Good to see you. Well, your name is not as weird as mine, probably. But you can probably sympathize with what I'm gonna say. This name gets misspelled, mispronounced, butchered in imaginative ways all the time. It was misspelled on the screen behind me, actually. It's misspelled on the door to my office. It's misspelled in my birth certificate. My parents only picked it because they pulled a prank on the office clerk and they wanted to see if they can go through with it. And I only learned how to spell it when I was in Amsterdam, because only after certain mind-altering substances does the spelling of it make sense. So, yeah, but like I don't mind when people call me Matthias, but what I do mind is when my students get very imaginative with how they get my name wrong. So, for example, one student just calls me the tutor whose name starts with Ma. So the rest of my names probably sound like Matuda Jabba the Gobble in his mind. And the other just calls me Adam Kosaki because why the fuck not? My name could be literally anything at this point. I'm the one who cannot be named. I'm basically Voldemort of the Mouse and Stuff department. My Death Eaters are numbers. I teach unforgivable courses. And I could go wrong and wrong with this, but let's leave it before it gets hairy. So, however, I devised a trick on how to help people remember my name. It is very simple. Basically, I'm gonna pick a member of the audience, so you, for example. How do you say my name, Mr. Jurczyński? It's very simple. It puts this great image of a chin skiing down a slope. It helps. I actually was very proud of it when I made it up. But then a friend told me, Mateusz. Well, actually, the friend was British, so he said, Matthias. You are trying to become a respected scientist in a country where you have to introduce yourself by saying, my name is Mateusz Jurczyński. In terms of sheer social isolation, it's somewhere between bringing a bottle of hand lotion to the cinema and bringing a bottle of hand lotion to the cinema and crying for every second of the movie. I really enjoyed Frozen. So names are weird. There are names in maths, you know, like theorems get named after the inventor, so like you have the Pythagoras theorem. Some of you should know it. But of course, with maths being quite an old science, it accumulated quite a lot of interesting names. So for example, there was a guy called Vladimir Fock, and he devised the Fock space. And how do you call the act of moving from a normal math space to the Fock space? You call it Focking. That's an actual name, that's an actual word in maths research papers. Or there was this other guy, whose name was Jacques Tits. And he proved a theorem, which is basically of the form either this is true or this is true. So we have the Tits alternative. That doesn't even begin to scratch the surface of the world of theorems proven by two people. So when Peter and Weil prove a theorem, it's the Peter-Weil theorem. And I like to think that those two people had an even stronger accent than me, and like they didn't notice anything weird about this name. And like they came to a conference, they were like, we call this the Peter-Weil theory. And then the audience just like started giggling. And after that talk, respected scientist David Cox is sitting in a bar, drowning his sorrow that he, a respected mathematician, laughs at a funny name juxtaposition, like a little child. And he's joined by Steven Zucker, another respected mathematician. And together they form a plan. If maths people are gonna laugh at juxtapositions, we're gonna give them the juxtaposition. Maths blows, so it should have a blowjob theorem, the cocksucker theorem. And the rest is history. So, I've been told that I tend to come across as intimidating and creepy. I have no idea why. But one of the possible reasons is that sometimes there is a phrase in Polish which has very weird connotations in English. So, take partners, for example. In English, when you want to say that a person has a wife, husband, boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever, you say that a person is taken. So you have this great kidnapping Stockholm syndrome thing going on, like sets you up for the whole I don't know who you are, but I'm gonna find you and I'm gonna marry you, Liam Neeson kind of shit. So what do we say in Polish? We don't say taken, we say occupied. So what kind of associations do you form when you hear occupied? You either think of the Occupy protest movement, if you're in kind of like anarchistic mood, or you think of occupying a toilet stall, and if so, you're a disgusting person, but I like your style. Or finally, you think about occupying a country. So how does a Polish bar and Polish dating looks like? So you have your normal English bar, people standing around, like drinking the beer, talking in this weird Polish language, with their weird names. But from time to time, someone will notice, I'm not rubbing my nipple this right now. But from time to time, someone will pull a small flag out of their pocket. And then just go like this! What the hell did you just do? You are claimed by the independent country of me, myself, and I. Well, it is time for the grand national anthem. Well, Mateusz is a wrecking ball. You don't know awkwardness until you discover that you have the same personal anthem as another person. Especially the anthem is like a virgin. But yeah, occupation, that's a fun word to use in every situation. I would know, Poland has lots of experience with it. No thanks to you, you know. But Polish language, right? Polish language is strange. So, for example, we give genders to stuff. Not just to people, but like every single thing has a gender. So, for example, a lamp is feminine. So you get a guy entering an office. Hey mate, what do you have on that desk? Don't you dare go marry a thing! This is the love of my life! This is my love lamp! And we have 4 light bulb children! What the fuck, mate? Are you in love with the stapler as well? What? No, you know that I'm straight. Stapler is male, man. Like, it shouldn't be in this bin, actually. Both of those things should be in the supply closet. So, there is this thing, and that's some really weird shit. And yeah, actually, let's take shit, for example. So, shit is masculine. However, poo, a synonym for shit, is feminine. So, is that like a 21st century thing, where the poo has to decide on its own what its gender identity? Or are feces just basically fucking hermaphrodites in Polish language? These are the questions that we, the PhD students, have to answer on a daily basis. Feces are the topic for every single course that you study in this room. You could make a PhD research project out of it. So, for example, me, maths, feces in infinite dimensions, that's what I do. And finally, you have the fact that some objects are genderless. Now, if you leave yourself the option of not assigning a gender to an inanimate object, why wouldn't you do it for all the objects? Why would you still assign genders to some of them? Why would Germans decide that a little girl of all things is genderless? And also, why is a chair genderless, but an armchair is masculine? Are those armrest things that you have on your armchair, are those basically the chair's dicks? So whenever you're making yourself comfortable on that armchair, then do you know you're actually jerking it off? You don't have to thank me for this mental image. You enjoy your comfy seats, because they enjoy it way more. So that's basically the Polish part of me. The question is, what about the maths part? So why am I actually a mathematician? You might get the impression that I actually am not a big fan of my job or something, but I actually love it. I love it thoroughly. I love the weird names. I love all the quirkiness I get as a mathematician. And so, if someone asks me, why are you a mathematician? My answer is always going to be, it's the only job where I can look my boss, a renowned professor in advanced age, straight in the eye and say, I'm gonna fuck these tits with this cocksucker. To which he's gonna reply, great, the Peter vial might help. I, Mateusz Jurczyński, you've been wonderful. Dziękuję bardzo.
I'm not even going to try the little dance, to be honest. I think the atmosphere is quite good. Shall we bring on our next act straight away? Yeah, okay. So let's bring on our next act then. Let's get a round of applause going again, ladies and gentlemen. Please welcome to the stage, Mr. Josh Walker!
Thank you. Great to be here tonight at County Comedy Club. It's quite interesting actually. As I came in this evening, I saw a little sign that said, "Fire door, keep shut." So far, haven't told anyone. Although it turns out getting a big pile of sticks and lighting a match isn't quite what they mean by fire assembly point. Anyway, I've had to stop repeatedly playing drum solos at 3 AM in the morning. Too many repercussions. Used to be in a band actually. We sang about tarpaulin, book sleeves and breakdown insurance. We mainly did cover songs. An original book idea. That's novel. Now, a lot of people think I'll be arrested for stealing board games, but that's a risk I'm willing to take. And of course, if I collect all the board games, I'll have a monopoly. And then I can sell them off and make a quick buckaroo. I'll have lots of money then. Kerplunk. Don't want to set your prices too high though, customers might go, "Ooh, no." It's not even a board game. Oh. Will I be able to think of any more board game jokes? The mind boggles. No, I'll move on after I've rolled a double. Awkward, isn't it, when you're at a social event and you see someone dressed exactly the same as you, just stood there slightly awkward at the nudist party? I know a lot of people ask me how my father copes with being a mute. To be honest, he doesn't like to talk about it. Obviously, if you're the Pope, the only type of tax you pay is VAT. A lot of people ask me what the main food source for pandas is. I'm bamboozled. Cheers. No. But you know, that dead mathematician who cracked the Enigma code, he must be chawing in his grave. So there I was, stuck in traffic at Spaghetti Junction, worrying about all the carbonara emissions. Just so frustrating, sat there in my Lamborghini with its ravioli wheels. Had a full entertainment system though, a stereo, DVD player, tagliatelle. Eventually we got moving and I went in the right direction towards the Bolognese 6. Pasta jokes, don't knocky them. I'm addicted to showers. Well, I've been clean for years now. Yet, of course, the best way to look after your stockpile of nuclear weapons is WMD-40. Annoying, isn't it, when you're in a supermarket trying to buy some wrapping paper, you go up to the self-checkout machine, but it says, "Cards only." Slow burner. But, no. Of course, when you think about it, all glasses are 3D. Another little observation, the similarity between a flare gun and a pair of flare trousers is that they're both a cry for help. And as we all know, the reason the Egyptian Empire collapsed, because of a pyramid scheme. If you have hyperactivity disorder and you were born before Jesus Christ, then technically you have BC HD. At an airport recently, and I actually passed out on the baggage reclaim carousel. Doctors had to wait for me to come round again. That reminds me, I've actually flown to Australia recently. Whilst I was there, I met a man who started singing Fernando and Mamma Mia. Presumably, he was some kind of Aboriginal. He tried to teach me some of the didgeridoo, but I couldn't make any sound at all. Must have got the wrong end of the stick. Said to him I'd like to go to the Tourist Information Centre so I can find out about the kind of people who holiday around here. Okay. He agreed, but only if I could drink a batch of kangaroo urine. So after I finished that can of Foster's, sent me on my way. Got to the Tourist Information Centre, went up to the man at the desk and said, I'd like to go to the beach. I don't mind going to beaches that have those signs, such as the exercising of dogs is not allowed on this beach. It's fine, none of mine are possessed. To help me find it, he gave me an aerial map, which is a shame because I prefer Times New Roman. It was drawn on a big napkin, Ordnance Surveyette. He then handed me over a piece of sandpaper, told me that was a map of the beach itself. It was at that point I noticed he had really curly, sexy hair. He was an aphrodisiac. He told me he studied psychology. I said, well, that explains the hair then. Why? Because of all the conditioning. But no, he was very helpful. He said the best way to get to the beach was a return flight which would take me there and then bring me back. Slightly surprised, however, when he started strapping me to a ginormous boomerang. It's Australia for you. Eventually I ended up in New Zealand. Whilst I was there, I saw the rugby team come out and do this. He was the computer hacker. So decided I'd go to Japan. At a restaurant there, the waiter came up to me and he asked me, wasabi? And I said, it's a black and yellow buzzing insect. He is. I'm afraid to say I actually made some libelous remarks about one of the female cooks, and Susie, the sushi sous chef, sued me. But, no, I mean, you're supposed to when you're set with a big finish, but I can only really do that if I brought a big dishwasher tablet on stage with me. You know, if you would like to get in touch with me in any way, my contact details are, I take a soft dailies with a -2.5 prescription in my right eye, -2 in my left, but I've been Josh Walker, you've been amazing, thank you.
Josh Walker! And with this, we've come to the end of the evening, everybody! That's how a man drinks a pint. So you're meant to nominate someone else, aren't you? I think is that the thing that you do? Yeah.
Generally.
All right, David Cameron. If you're watching, you can do it. Let's have a round of applause for all our acts tonight.